maybe we'll start where we started yesterday, Shanny, about John Chayka coming on, general manager of the Arizona Coyotes, and the fact that they decided to part ways with Shane Doan. I guess we'll grab the clip a little bit later on, but you asked the pointed question about Shane Doan and publicly not ready to give an answer, but they'd made a decision.
Yeah, well, obviously there was a difference of opinions, one from the organization and one from Shane Doan about whether he is to play again, albeit not for the Coyotes, because after telling him on Saturday, the club was actually hoping to wait until after the roster freeze which would ends at 8 a.m. Eastern time on Thursday, to have this announcement that Shane Doan would not be back as a player. They were probably trying to do it with a big press release and maybe even an event of some sort, or hopefully, as I was told yesterday after the show, that maybe even have him join the organization in the front office. The player obviously disagreed, and he wants to play again, and it certainly sounds like he's going to explore options as of July 1st as a unrestricted free agent.
You're the ex-player point of view.
Well, there's no good time when an organization tells you that your services are no longer wanted. And I think that it was more of a shock to him more than anything else. I don't think he saw it coming. Obviously, he was asked to go in for a meeting, and next thing he knows, they're just telling him, you're no longer, we're not going to bring you on. It's business. They're moving on. And I think that that's what rattled him a little bit more. And when you aren't expecting it, you leave really quickly. And I think that's what Shane Doan didn't want to get his emotions involved and not say something that he'd regret later on. But yeah, just you never like hearing that. And Shane Doan believes that he has another year that he can go out and produce at a higher level or a high level again. I mean, 2 years ago, he had 28 goals. And he thinks that he can get back there. And who's to say he can't? The guy's had an unbelievable career, and you wish him the best.
The business decision you can't argue with. You're right. It's good. No. The way it got delivered, given what we've heard before, is there a better way or not? In my opinion, I wouldn't go for breakfast. It was Shane Doan that suggested breakfast, and I guess they lasted 6 or 7 minutes because he thought it was going to be a discussion, though, rather than kind of an edict handed his way. You know what I found, and I don't know how you found it, Todd. Again, the player point of view, I came to understand that my belief was when you're drafted by a team, that first jersey you go to war for because you put it on the draft, then you aspire to make it to the NHL, and then afterwards it becomes more of a business. So if you move on, and now granted, that usually happens when you're 22, 23, 24. He's 40, but it's still his first jersey. So I don't know if that had a bit of an element in it too. But at 40, probably you can feel the same way as 24 when it's the one and only jersey you've worn.
I also think the way that the organization and Doan and the community have really embraced what Shane Doan has stood for in so many ways in that area. When you consider the ups and downs and the roller coaster style of business that the Coyotes have had to live since they've moved there, the different arenas, the lack of success, the amount of courtroom discussions. I mean, the one constant and the one level of class that the organization had through all this time was Shane Doan. And he became probably as much as any player in the National Hockey League right now so identifiable with the franchise that it would probably be hard. And I'm sure it's hard for a ton of fans, too, to understand. But in the end, this is a business. The Coyotes, the Jets first, and then the Coyotes have made Shane Doan very rich.
Yes.
And Shane Doan doesn't have to work another day in his life if he chooses not to. And when you sign a standard player's contract, you agree to the terms of the contract, and you buy into your lifestyle as a professional athlete. So this day is inevitable. I think from one perspective that a guy doesn't fit into the future.
But are
there better ways to handle it?
Thursday,
Probably?
what you talked about Thursday, what they hope to have, I guess,
but
sounds
I guess
more like it.
It did.
But first, he's got to agree to it.
But he has to agree to it, and I mean that's when you have done this job for more than half of your life, and in Shane's, and we're just talking the professional side of the game, but when you consider that he's been a hockey player since he was 4, and being told that we don't think you can play the game anymore, I'm sure that's very difficult.
Yeah, and make no mistake about it. They're not saying that Shane Doan, you can't play anymore. He could maybe jump on with another team and get somewhere. But at the end of the day, this is about the young guys in Phoenix getting a chance to play more, get more opportunities. There's a lot of young guys in the organization, and if Shane Doan is there, it's gonna stunt their development, I think, within the organization.
The other thing is that John came on the show yesterday to discuss a few things.
Yeah.
And I asked him how difficult it was to talk to Shane Doan about not protecting him, and he kind of danced around that one. I don't know if are we going to play
the clip? Yeah, okay. Well, here, this is yesterday on Hockey Central at noon. John Shaka, general manager of the Arizona Coyotes, joining us.
Can you, and maybe this isn't a big issue for you or for the player, but could you give us a little insight how the conversation with Shane Doan would have gone, that you're not going to be protected?
Yeah, no, I did. We didn't really discuss it a whole lot. I mean, Shane's still undecided his future, so I don't think he had any expectations of being protected.
Okay.
So there's no issues there.
Well, wait, there is an issue. So
he was good to the last line.
Yeah. I mean, there is an issue, and it happened 48 hours before the interview occurred.
He's right. We discussed it a bit because Shane Doan says they didn't order breakfast, so they did a bit. He's right. He wasn't going to be protected.
Yes.
He's right. He's thinking about his future, given that he has no future playing with the Arizona Coyotes.
Yeah. I guess I made a mistake not asking more questions. So.
Well, you're going to get the same answers. Anyway, it was...
Well, no, I should have said, is he going to be on the roster in the fall? But I didn't. But I'm wondering, and the one person I'd like to hear from on this one is Dave Tippett. Because remember, here's a guy that now has some involvement on the hockey management side as well, and is the coach. And I'd like to know why he doesn't think Shane Doan doesn't fit into the organization.
And, a little sense of history. And I can remember years ago, remember Bob Lamont, the player agent in baseball, Dave Stieb and a few others. He was Dave Stieb's teacher, and he went on. He'd start doing the NFL coaches, as a matter of fact. And he was saying that he became a baseball fan because Billy Williams played for one team for his entire career, and about a guy staying. And I put a lot of it. That's why I always thought, wow, I found it admirable. Shane Doan could have gone to Vancouver at one point, other moves. So right now I did a quick look. So number one with one team is Nick Lidstrom.
One franchise.
One and only one franchise. I mean, Gordie Howe was more than one franchise. Johnny Busick more, Mike Modano more. So it was Nick Lidstrom, Alex Delvecchio, then Shane Doan was third. And right after him, Steve Yzerman. Patrick Marleau, believe it or not, if he plays 71 games, can surpass Lidstrom for that mark. And Ken Danico's there at the end, and those kind of guys. So it does show how unique and special. Even Joe Sakic is there, but technically he signed an offer sheet from the New York Rangers if you want to get picky. But nowadays, I find that's a little bit of, I guess it's the reality of the game, but it was kind of one of the neat parts in some of the cachet that Shane Doan, to me, had beyond Arizona.
Well, yeah, and here's a guy that, he's dedicated, as John said, his entire career to one organization. And it is tough once you put that jersey on, to your point earlier, Gord, that's your love affair with your very first team.
Did you agree with that, though, from a player's point of view?
Absolutely, because, you get drafted by him and you have so much pride putting a jersey on. And for, the majority of guys, that lasts 5-6 years. Shane's Doan, over 20 years, I mean, that takes it to a whole new level. And you can understand the disappointment when he got that news.